Rachel. I'm the project manager at Berkshire West Your Way. This is my colleague Sarah. She's one of our Your Way workers. So our service is Berkshire West Your Way, but it sits under Together for Mental Wellbeing, which is a national mental health charity. But we're the service that operates in West Berks, Reading and Wokingham. What we provide is one-to-one support to clients and peer recovery support as well. We work with adults over the age of 18. We work with anybody who's experiencing mental health symptoms or signs. I don't focus so much on whether they've been formally diagnosed. If somebody calls us up and they're going through anxiety, or they're kind of detailing symptoms to suggest anxiety or depression or things like that, and we will work with them. We will also encourage them to go and speak to their GP as well. But I'm not looking for like a GP to say this person's got formal diagnosis, now they can access your service, because that's not how everybody gets into primary health services sometimes. Sometimes it's through kind of voluntary organisations like ours. We provide up to 12 weeks one-to-one support. We will also signpost people on beyond that. We do provide self-management groups which can go into peer support. So for example, we had a self-management group which obviously looks at self-coping strategies and how people can manage and support themselves. That's run by our peer supporters, so they all have lived experience. That group then, after the 4 weeks, met independently, and they are still meeting independently. They've been meeting since that group ran in August. So they have been meeting completely separately with no intervention from staff anymore, and they are now a friendship group who politely and bluntly challenge one another on to ensure that they are achieving their goals, moving forward and actually supporting one another. So that's the kind of things that we do. We also do run activities, and we're moving into more focusing on workshops, so kind of short-term taster sessions as well, that we're looking to deliver, but it's based on what service users want, not what we think they want. I'm going to hand you over to Sarah, because she is one of our one-to-one workers, so she's going to chat about some of the one-to-one work.
There are 3 of us working in the locality, which, as Rachel mentioned, is West Berkshire, Wokingham and Reading. We provide one-to-one support to clients for 12 weeks, and it's service user led, so they decide what they'd like to achieve from the support. Some of the kind of examples that people are looking for is support to go back into employment, support to overcome particular situations that perhaps are causing them a lot of anxiety, looking at how can they access more social activities and access the community more. So we do this with by signposting. If there are specialist organisations out there that can provide focused help, we'll signpost them along to that and support them to make use of that support. Other things we might do with the client. So for example, one of the clients that I'm seeing has an interest in learning how to budget, and she's also wanting to decrease her debt. So the plan is that we'll be signposting her to a couple of debt organisations, as well as doing some work together on budgeting. And she's also going to try to look into some IAPT for the underlying causes of why she's spending in a rather addicted way. So we try to sit well with the organisations that are out there, as well as primary care. We do hope that the short-term work that we do with people will help them raise their confidence and independence. We work in a way that's kind of encourages them to make independent decisions, as well as we don't do things for people that they can do for themselves. So we look at working in a strength-based way, finding out from them what they're able to do and what they feel comfortable with doing, while we kind of do a bit of signposting and a bit of moral support. So for example, the person might feel confident about making phone calls, or they may feel, actually I'd like to practice making this phone call with somebody, can we do this together before I do it? We do require people using the one-to-one support to engage with the support, as well as committing to attend appointments. We have an assessment session with them where we will kind of go through what their goals are, and then they make the commitment and also talk about how they'd like to work with the worker. And there is some flexibility as well in terms of how we work. So for example, somebody might want a regular appointment because it helps them to be in a routine, so we'll have a regular appointment at that time. Somebody else might want something a bit more flexible. Some people come who are working full time, so we do try to accommodate that by either having an early morning appointment or appointment after office hours. As Rachel mentioned, we've got the peer-led activities, the self-management group, which is a workshop style group, as we've mentioned, led by peer supporters. People within that group, they look at sort of sharing strategies together, as well as, so it's a bit about learning from each other as well as learning from the peer supporters and the structure of the course. As Rachel did mention, they do have the scope to continue meeting afterwards as a kind of friendship group, and we've had one group that's very successfully did that. They've been meeting now since August. It gives people that sort of safe space really to, because we're not clinical, I think it gives them sort of a safe space to kind of learn from each other and share strategies. We can provide one-to-one peer support for up to 24 weeks. That's very limited based on our availability. Peer supporters have a full training package, so they all attend the self-management group themselves as participants, as well as having some face-to-face induction with the peer support coordinator. And the peer support that they give is kind of based on sharing on their lived experience, sharing that with the service user. So following engagement with the one-to-one support or the peer-led activities, clients can attend our workshops and groups that we run. We have a number of different opportunities for people. We have a board game session, there's a gardening group, a table tennis group, we have a coffee, social and Newbury, and a working and craft group. And we are working towards all of these groups being service user led, so there isn't actually any staff involvement, although we will kind of facilitate setting up a new group or sort of supporting any difficulties that do arise. We do tend to signpost into other organisations as much as possible, particularly the Recovery College. We signpost people to Sport in Mind, but also other groups and activities in the community. So we're looking at helping people to move out of the sort of mental health field into more mental health sort of groups, into more mainstream groups and activities. And the kind of examples that we've had from that is we've had people accessing English language classes, attending groups that have been based in the community. People have gone back to work completely without needing any support. So we've had quite a few really, really good outcomes from people. And at that point we will close their case to us with the idea that they can refer back in the future if they need the support that we give.
So I'll just chat quickly through referrals. So people can self-refer, but they can also be referred in by a third party. We do also have a weekly open door session, so someone can just drop in and can talk to us about the service. We have a referral form that we can send out. We're on your systems as well, so you can print off the form. And roughly from initial referral to actually kind of starting working with somebody, it's about 2 weeks, and in that there'll be us getting the referral form from them and completion of an initial assessment, and then we'll go into one-to-one support if that's what they want. So our referrals on the system, but also I know that might be a barrier because it's not a massively long referral form. It does ask them some kind of in-depth questions, and you might not have time to complete it with them. But if they're there with you, I'm more than happy for you to call us and say, I've got this person who's with me. You can pop them on the phone to us. They can provide us with their telephone number and their details. You can print them off a copy of the referral form that we can take away, and then we can just follow that up. And as long as they've given us consent to contact them, that is fine. And if they then say, oh no, I'm not interested, that's absolutely fine as well. But that might help the speed of kind of referring them in as well. I'm not expecting you to sit and do the form with them. And we can also go to drop-in sessions. So if, for example, it's useful for us to come and speak to your surgery, or you've got a couple of hours you could give us, we can hop in and pick up some referrals that way, or if you've got kind of collection of referral forms, we can take them away as well. So there's other ways we can, as opposed to expecting you always to come to us, so we can actually come out to you guys as well. I was just going to ask a quick question, if that's okay. So out of our last lot of referrals, we have about 38, and only 2 of them from GP surgeries. Now, I don't believe that's representative of actually the need out there. So what would be helpful is if you identify any barriers, if you know of any right now as to why referrals aren't getting through to other organisations and other groups, and us included, I'm more than happy to hear what some of the barriers are so we can make it easier. And also you can also contact us later if you're thinking, well, actually I'm trying to refer and this is the problem that I'm getting. And that's what I would like to hear from people, because ideally I believe there's more, and Laura already highlighted there is a significant amount of people across West Bath who do need kind of mental health support, and it's not reflective of the moment of actually what the need is out there. And I believe that getting primary referrals from people like yourselves actually can sort of stop people from going into those secondary services if we can get them at that initial point. So if anybody's got any thoughts, I don't know if we've got time for questions.
Yep.
I have got some postcards you can take away.
Yeah.
If you have a completely service user-led group without any professionals in there, how do you keep that safe when you have people with mental illness, some of the most vulnerable and some of the most manipulative people possibly together? That could be fireworks and it could be unsafe.
It's interesting you say that, because we've had one group in Newbury that was set up, and we do a sort of check-in with them, but it's like every 3 months, but that group self-manages. We've had another group that ran in Reading, and they've gone off and they completely managed themselves. And their initial concern was, what if somebody we don't like comes over? And they had an incident like that, and actually as a group they initially dealt with it well. Then when the kind of shock came in because the lady was quite problematic, then they were like, oh, we now feel unsafe. But now they've moved on from that, and they're actually continuing to meet on their own. And they've kind of overcome that as we're in a public place, and actually we can be skilled to deal with that. So I think there is a point where we need to let people make those decisions and choices and give them the space to actually learn that they can be safe in an open environment. But we also do check in with them. So we kind of hold that balance. We're not going to have somebody there all the time, because actually they can be capable of solving those problems themselves, and it's about giving them the opportunity, and then if there is an issue, we can deal with that.
So is it totally group-led, or is there one person who heads it up?
In terms of the groups, they're totally group-led. But the Newbury one came out because the service users wanted a coffee group, and now they go to the cinema, and now they go bowling, and they go off and they have their own friendship group, and they do countless other things that have absolutely nothing to do with us, because they are friends and they're going off and doing that themselves. And that's what they wanted, and they're like, oh, we wanted to do something around Christmas, but they didn't want to come to Reading. Fair enough. So they went on and had their own Christmas thing, and that's what they wanted to do. And that's how we want it to be service user led, because we're trying to make people kind of have supportive groups, and not with a staff member in there providing that safety blanket, because it's not necessary. But I hear your point. If there's somebody very unwell and they're concerned about somebody in the group, they can always contact us and say we've got this concern.
Where are you based?
So we are near Cemetery Junction, right around the corner from Sun Street. We are Rupert Square, so we're kind of down in that area. But we don't do one-to-ones in our office. We might do the initial assessment, but we do the one-to-ones in locations out in the borough. But it's mutually convenient where that person can meet. And there are some places which are hard to reach, and we have provided telephone support. So there's some people who, for whatever reason, can't come out of their house, so we have actually provided support on their phone to them as well.
Thank you.
Where do you get most of your referrals from?
So we've had some from talking therapists, we've had some from CMHT. We've had a significant amount of over 1 month, 50% of them were self-referrals. People have just Googled us, look at our Google stats, and they've Googled us and found us. Or they've just kind of linked in with other charities, so Macmillan referred to us, social prescribing and Reading have referred through to us. And some people they've just been given, they've contacted another charity about something else or another organisation, and they've just been given our details about the housing department. So it's just a really broad spectrum.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you
much.
very much.
Thank you very much, Rachel and Sarah.